Good day, YouTube. JD here for another video for the Pagan Perspective. This week's topic is basically what do the stars and celestial bodies, how do they play a role in our personal path? And for me, I would say that it's a very personal one because when I decided to construct my wickening ritual, I literally did a modified version of bringing down the moon. So I actually did feel what a lot of people go through when you perform the bringing down the moon ritual. It was really crazy. I actually had heightened senses. I could hear things. There seemed to be a bit of a calm around me in the area. It was an amazing situation. So bringing down the moon, the feminine energies of the moon, that's kind of what I connected with as far as my initial goddess energy. I saw the sun, or I see the sun as a type of God energy. I feel that they both are balances. As far as other celestial bodies, I am a Sagittarius, Sagittarius 3 actually. So Jupiter is very, very important as far as I'm concerned. I haven't done any journey work to actually reach these celestial bodies. I have done a few meditations and things on which I attempt to communicate and draw energy for the creation of thought forms and things with them. And I do feel that I get subtle input from them when I meditate hard enough. But it's kind of interesting because they almost, when you ask them for information, it's almost like, at least for me, it's almost like you get this thing where it's like you have to take care of that yourself, kind of stuff. I guess it's more of like a wise type of thing. They aren't about solving things for you. They will give you energy, but they aren't really there to kind of be prayed to in the Christian God way. Like, you're not going to look to the moon and say, hey, I need help with this bill on Friday. They're going to tell you what can you do to get that bill done? What skills do you have? You have to have done something because you've lived this far. So go ahead and rely on those skills and get the work done. That's the kind of feedback I've gotten from the moon. Well, more specifically from the sun when I try to meditate and use its energies. But beyond, grabbing some of the heat from the sun, when I build thought forms, I like to use the elements. I make sure that all of them have a strong connection with the elements, and that's about as far as my extent with them, from my wickening, and then using them to actually put the elements into my thought forms. That's about it for the moon and sun. I mentioned Jupiter earlier. That's all I have really for this topic. It's a very simple topic for me. I do have a number of videos that I've recorded, but I wasn't able to actually get up. So what I'm going to do is, at the end of this video, I'm going to tack all of them together. So this may be a, who knows, 10-15 minute video. So that way you'll be able to see with the labels of all the ones that I've missed. You'll see them as they go forth, and I'll finally get caught up today to the newest videos to this current one. But thanks so much for watching the video. I will see you guys next time, and blessed be. Good day, YouTube. JD here for the Pagan Perspective. This is July. Oh my gosh, it's been very, very hot in the eastern part of the United States where I'm at, in the Maryland, Virginia, DC area. Extremely hot. We're topping 100. Some heat indexes having 105, in some places 110. But today, when I'm recording this video, we're getting some much needed sprinkles and some rain here. So you may see me rolling up the windows quite quickly as the rain starts to move its way in. This week's topic covers books. And I've talked about a few books in the past. I remember that there was like a book haul that was done. I think I missed that video, but I did have a number of books I really wanted to talk about on that video that I missed when everyone was doing the book haul. I wanted to talk about Michelle Ballinger, because without reading Michelle Ballinger's books, I don't believe I would have been where I am in my particular path. For those of you who don't know of Michelle Ballinger, she is a self-proclaimed energy vampire. She's put out several books on working with different types of energy feeding. She's got a YouTube channel. She's been featured on A&E's paranormal shows because she's been consulted with when dealing with trying to hunt down dark energies and demons and things. So she's really well known in the paranormal world, in the pagan world, for dealing with energy. She says there's a difference between Sanguinarious vampires, those are the ones that need physical blood, and energy vampires like ourselves who feed off of the energy of other humans. Just to give you some backstory, some people may hear vampire and think evil and crazy and stuff, but if you read her books, she basically says that taking energy from someone's energy field is not necessarily bad, because some people have an overabundance of energy. I know we all know that one or two people in our life that are bubbling with energy and are so vital and amazing, and to the point where they can kind of be tiresome to be around. Yes, those are the people she's talking about. Those are the people who could use having some of that energy pulled away from their energy body. In some of her earlier books, she's very, very strict on not doing what they call a deep contact feed, because a deep contact feed on someone's energy body could actually cause harm to young people and could actually encourage serious injury or maybe even death on people that are a bit older or elderly or sick people. So yes, I want to talk about her particular book. The one in particular would be the Psychic Energy Codex, because that one kind of pulls together a number of things to basically give you kind of a dictionary of understanding of energy work from her perspective. The book is a dictionary. It kind of reiterates a lot of the things from her earlier books, but I like it because it ties everything together. And if you're working with energy in any way, if you have thought about jumping into energy vampirism, if you are a bit curious and you want to know how to shield yourself, to protect yourself from people who may be pulling energy from you, it's definitely worth a read. The Psychic Energy Codex, or any of her psychic vampirism books. I think these are kind of like self-defense skills that we all need in the energy world, because if you don't know it, it's possible to be a victim of energy vampirism by friends. Sometimes you may have that one friend where you just feel drained every time you're around them. Perhaps they're someone who comes to you when they have emotional problems and they want to tell you about their day or tell you about what happened at school or work, or while they were walking home. And if you notice, you start to feel a bit drained, a bit taxed, and you have to go sleep. Well, that person may be an energy vampire and they don't know it yet. Perhaps they do. Reading her books, they teach you how to form shields. They teach you how to sour your energy, so that way when they make contact and they try to pull some energy from you, it causes them to kind of pull back. Perspective. First off, happy Litha or summer solstice, depending on which one you celebrate. This is definitely the longest. Oh, and also depends on if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. But this is going to be the longest day of the year. Time for a lot of reflection as energy shift and we move into summer today. As you can probably see above me, where I'm at, the sky is pretty clear and beautiful and bright, and it's going to be getting warm here in the northern hemisphere, here in the United States, Eastern Seaboard. Today's topic. Okay. That's one way to start off a video. Quite loud. Where was I? Yes, so yes, they're still going on. Wait till they clear the area a bit here. This week's topic covers shadow work. Oh, we got another one. They're still loud. Okay, so this week's topic covers shadow work. And for you guys who've been following me for a while here on the Pagan Perspective and on my personal channel, you know I identify as a shaman, as a Wiccan shaman eclectic witch. So shadow work is definitely something that I've given a lot of thought to. However, I will say it's one of my weaknesses. I won't pretend that I'm perfect in any way, so I'm going to go ahead and explain that shadow work, yes, is definitely one of my weaknesses. I need to work on my shadow aspect quite a bit. You may have picked up on that when I talked about the teas and things that are diuretics that pull salt out of your body to help deal with irritability. So yes, I definitely struggle with that. Have I gone on shamanic journeys to deal with it? Yes, but I've done it to purge specific aspects of my personality, such as a video I did a couple years ago back on the Pagan Perspective. I talked about that I would basically remove any form of foul language from my everyday speak. and in how I interact with people. I've since relapsed on that, to be completely honest with you guys, and that's because I didn't keep up with the shadow work. When I did my journey, I confronted that aspect of me, and in my mind and in the astral realms, I conquered that part of me. And I did feel that it started to creep up, and things went from there, and I ended up relapsing and actually getting worse with the language. But it did stay clean for the better part of a year or more. So I think it needed. I believe I needed a maintenance shamanic journeys to go back in there and clamp that type of thing down. I will say that I haven't done other aspects of myself. Some of us deal with procrastination, some of us deal with laziness, some of us deal with jealousy. I don't really have jealousy. I can't really say I have that too much because I'm not a really jealous person. But for someone out there listening to this, jealousy, negative emotions, to me, those things those things can stem from the shadow self. So I guess in order to go into the whole thing, everyone has light and dark sides of their aspects of their personality. And the ego, as far as I understand it, the ego is kind of tied directly to the shadow self that you have. And when the ego is bruised, it will defend itself, and it can manifest in some of the craziest ways. I mean, you can get into arguments. You can end up sabotaging people's property. Not that I've done that, but I've gotten into the arguments. And then when I analyzed it, once the anger kind of came down, I realized that was the shadow self manifesting itself because it hasn't been dealt with. I have learned that it's not the best idea to completely conquer the shadow self. That energy is there to protect you in certain situations, especially when it comes to anger, but it needs to be tamed. Like any weapon or any tool, it needs to be applied correctly, or you can damage or hurt whatever situation you're applying that tool to or with. So in the example of having a argument, you may say something to a loved one that you never meant to say. And for people who are really out of control and really have let their shadow self go, you may physically hurt someone that you love. You may physically destroy your own property or their property because you've let the shadow self take the wheel and take full control. So that is part of the reason why shadow work is so important. Everyone has these aspects deep down in their soul, their energy bodies, their very being. They have a purpose. They shouldn't be completely eradicated, but they should be tamed. Everything requires balance. I mean, even when you look at science, you look at how the world is designed, you look at nature, that no one force has complete control. There's always going to be an aspect of something that needs to be tamed, pruned, pulled back, strengthened or weakened to maintain control. So a balance is extremely important. I don't think I have anything else for the shadow self, anything else to describe. If I can think of anything before I post this video, I'll go ahead and drop it down below. It's a wonderful question. I mean, these are questions that are throwback questions. They go all the way back to when the Pagan Perspective first started. These are the questions that kind of were the foundation of what Cora and everyone else who came on early did, and that's why the Pagan Perspective is so great. These are the pillars. These are the really deep questions, and you might find, and you may have already seen since this is Thursday, that a lot of these videos are running kind of long for the rest of the host because it's a complicated subject. The shadow can mean so many things to so many people. And doing research for this, I looked up a few things, and some people see shadow shamanic work as working with dark entities. I don't necessarily view it that way. Maybe because I'm kind of biased toward dark entities. I mean, you've seen my last videos. You've seen that I covered Hecate. You see that I covered Anubis. You see that I have love for Papalek, but these are all very dark entities anyway. I've seen people in articles online that caution working with shadow work. I've seen articles that mention having a calling before you get involved. I mean, circumstances in your life can kind of boil down to a calling. So I really won't touch that. But I believe that's just about everything. Again, I'll post down below if I can think of anything before I post this. Thank you so much